And with that, we should be live. Why are you being like that? Okay, then let me go here. Last week I was on a fucking roll about getting everything wrong and have as sloppy of an episode as possible. I just looked and saw what the message was. 2022 season. Let's go, baby.
Let's go, baby. Hey.
I'm so good at my job.
Hey, Lamau.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Everyone's lagging.
So also,
I
oh
don't know
boy,
if it's
Sean's
me or
gonna
if
be
it's
mean
just
this
for-
week. What a good.
Oh no, is it not having a good time with what I'm doing? Well, I'm very sorry if quality's garbo this week. My computer's been being wonky. Hopefully once I get these out and stop fucking around in Discord, it'll start being nicer.
Let me just turn my sensitivity down so you don't hear my roommates in the background.
What?
No, it's more fun.
That's part of the experience, clearly.
I agree. I think it's part of the
Uh,
experience, Mason.
Okay, this should be good.
I
We
don't
should be
want you to hear that. How about that?
fair. This should be good. We should be live. Hopefully stuff isn't going to combust. Welcome everybody. That's right. It's Save or Slay time. Week 3. It's week 3. That's how we do these. We're on episode 5 of all of our shows. Do not spoil anything past those episodes or you will be banished to the Shadow Realm. There's going to be spoilers and harsh language. We don't want to be up too late, but I'll do a little bit of we would have been live earlier and I would have had shows done earlier if not for the fact that Michael ran into traffic issues near my house. And I ran into car issues a little farther away from my house today, where I was driving to go pick up my nephew and about to make a turn when my battery went on me. And I was on a hill and had to slam on my e-brake. And then to which everybody behind me got very frustrated, and I put my flashers on and had to open my door and go around me, my car's fucked.
I can't turn on my flashers. I don't have a battery.
No, my battery was dead to the point that it wouldn't let it. Like the car stopped, full stop, but my dash and everything was still working, so I could put my flashers on. Thankfully, it's fucking
the engine going.
Not enough to get. The engine like full stopped. It was bad. And I called the garage I go to twice. Got voicemail both times. They were literally down the street. They were farther down the street from me than walking distance would have liked. So I had to go walk to a different nearby garage that was literally right down the road. And the guy who helped me was not very helpful. He was basically like, yeah, your battery's got some charge in it, but you're probably donezoed. But if your dash is on, you should be able to put the car in neutral and turn the wheel and back it up to the side of the street so you're not in the middle of the street. And I'm like, see, the thing you don't understand as a person who hasn't driven my car is that I have power steering. So since the battery's not going, the power steering is locked up.
Also not going.
And you are asking me to turn my wheel in a way when there are cars directly behind me still occasionally waiting for traffic to clear so they can go around me. You're asking me to do something that's very dangerous. And eventually another guy, the guy behind me stopped far enough and was like, hey, let me help out. We'll give the car a little bit of a push while you put it in neutral. And then as we're trying to do this, they're like, hey man, you gotta turn the wheel more. And I'm like, you do not understand the amount of difficulty that is going into this. And the guy's like, okay, do you want me to do it? I'm like, sure, man, I would appreciate that. And he starts to try it, and there's a moment on his face where I'm like, see, you've realized how hard it is to turn that wheel. and that at a certain point the cars decided to stop moving backwards on you. Isn't that wonderful? And then my sister showed up. We tried jumping my car. The battery still wouldn't start after a little bit of time. So I was like, okay, fuck it. I'll go home. I'll get it sorted out in a bit. But I'm parked on the side of the road. That's at least fine. And as we're about to drive away in my sister's car, a guy who was at the shop I stopped at had spotted me get into my sister's car and must have been talking to a friend of his about it. And they pull up because my sister's facing the wrong way because she's jumping my car. And they pull up the right way coming up the street, but stop as we're waiting for the cars to clear so that we can get on the right side of the road and fucking go home. They've just stopped, and I'm like, okay, what are you guys doing? I know one of you because I watched you get into this car and know you know my situation. The guy gets out of the car and he's like, what's going on, my man? And I'm like, I know the battery's dead. And he's like, have you jumped it? I'm like, I have the jumper cables. We tried it. The battery's not starting. He's like, well, give it another go. I'm like, I'm going to be here another 10 minutes because of these guys. And of course I start the car and the battery starts because why wouldn't it? You know, anything else to make me look, anything else to make me look. Yeah. He was like, I'm your lucky charm, baby. I'm like, thanks. Go leave so I can leave so that my car is fine. He's my lucky lunchman, exactly. So that was my day, and I got home and went, I'm gonna take a nap.
Understandable.
And so that was my day. So yeah, I have not done too much extra. I wanted to watch Giant Beasts of Ours. That didn't happen just because of time restraints. I have money coming in soon. My next paycheck that'll be enough to get my car fully fixed, thankfully. But it also means that I have to hold off on spending on things that I really want to spend on, like getting a certain game or two that have been on my to-buy list for like a year now. Some of them not that long, but one of them literally almost a year. We're getting there. I have a Digimon's Tactics game that I need to play.
Oh yeah, Survive. God, Survive's been out for that long, huh?
It came out like July, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. I'll play it one day, and I'll be able to have my opinion that I hold of Cyber Sleuth, which is, this game's really fun. Oh boy, do they need, like, to really put actual money into it to have a good translation. That would make this game perfect.
Go next.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
You want me to go next, or you want to go next, Mason?
I can go next. Relatively short.
Okay. Actually, you're cutting out, so I was wondering.
Yeah. Mine's pretty simple. I watched podcast stuff. I've gone through almost the entire first season of Fruits Basket in like less than a week. And then I played TFT. Also, I have therapy for the first time ever tomorrow, and I'm very excited about that.
Got paperwork done?
Yeah. Also, I saw John this week. That was
Yo, what's
cool. Yeah, it was fun seeing John for the first time since Youmacon.
It's been a minute, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I barely saw John at Youmacon. But that was on me.
Hey, listen, you had to work, dude. I get it. No shame. Yeah, I was out there. I came and saw Mason. He's out in Grand Rapids. My girlfriend wanted to see her sister. And she goes to school out there where me and Mason went, and we're like, hey, Mason, want to do stuff? So I'm not just here for Amber's sister? And he's like, yeah, let's do stuff. Do you have anything else, Mason?
No, not really. That was about it. Played Bird Game, played other board games with...
Thoughts on Bird Game?
Austin. Bird Game fun. Bird Game's very fun.
Right. We played that one game online with Austin, too.
Yeah, Concordia.
Long Catan, as I called it.
Yeah, Long Catan. Don't worry, guys. It's going to be 45 minutes, an hour at most.
I think if like we knew how to play, it could have been.
Even then.
Maybe. I mean, I'm a big thinker on board games, so that's why. And also, we were kind of tired.
That game definitely feels like it's an hour and a half minimum.
That's fair.
Fuck, that's gonna be bad. Ignore that. Everybody ignore what just popped up on my screen.
I didn't see it.
No, I mean the viewers who will definitely eventually see that.
I see it now.
Don't worry about that. I misclicked on a thing.
But
Go ahead.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Mason.
Oh no, I was just saying. Anything else?
Yeah, but I went out there to see Mason. That was fun. I finished Danganronpa first season. I forgot that I already knew the biggest plot twist of the show, unfortunately.
It's one of those plot twists that's like there's certain
It's-
plot twists that are hard to avoid for
It's
some things.
impressive. One thing I will say is that I
There's a reason
think
why I knew it. It's because I watched people like play through it.
Yeah.
Something Witty Entertainment. They were playing through it, and I just like I forgot like what I had seen and what I hadn't seen. I'm like, is this a thing that's like very important? She's like, yes, that is a thing that is the very important thing. I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate. But sorry, go ahead.
No, but there's some like fun spoiler things, like if you know like random bits of stuff from like certain thing.
oh boy.
So like you think you know things, and then
Yes.
something happens that goes against what you expect. And you're like, huh?
Yeah, Mason had this, Michael
I
had
had-
this.
I had that
there
with,
is-
with
Yeah.
case 4, I think, in 2.
DO2. There is something about I think the fan base does it as long as you as someone who is engaging with the series avoids looking at stuff related to V3. Most people are very good about not talking about V3's twists because they understand that game fucking kills it with them.
Mm-hmm.
I
Um,
understand nothing about 3 or 2 yet. I don't know anything about those. So that's the fun part.
3's the anime. V3
Yeah,
is something
V3's
different.
V3's the game.
I know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
I
get it.
haven't,
I
haven't seen
love
any
when-
of those,
I
of the
love
other
when
ones,
people
so.
ask me, can I play V3 without playing the other ones? And I go, no. And they go, so it spoils stuff. And I go, kind of. And the easiest way to explain this without saying anything is that because it's like the end of the Danganronpa idea at the moment, Kodaka went, how do I want to open the game? A video showcase that spoils everything I've ever done before this. Where they just video reel DR1, DR2, UDG, fucking DR3, both versions, and the final version. He just
it
goes,
was-
you need all of it.
It was funny when I was hanging out with John and Amber and Keegan because we're talking about how John finished DR1. And I go, man, I'm really excited for you to play DR2. And we got into the topic of who he should be, who should his waifu be. And Amber said, I can't wait for it to be it was Sonya. And I went, I can't wait for it to be Ibuki. And then Keegan goes, I can't wait for it to be Chiaki. And Amber and I both go, no, Keegan's right. Keegan's right.
I mean,
actually.
that's everybody. You know,
It's just one of those things where it's the correct option.
it's
just the correct
you
choice.
load the game and you go, Kodaka, come on now. I'm not gonna fall for the gamer girl waifu bait. And then you play the game and you go, Kodaka, how did you do it? You made it impossible. Even knowing that she's the
No,
gamer
that's
girl waifu
impossible.
bait. You're like, I should be able to avoid the stereotype.
I have to. I tried so hard to avoid it, and then I was just like,
Everybody
Fuck, I'm
does.
doing it.
Everybody's
Yeah,
like,
you're like, oh, I'm
gamer
gonna avoid it. Then you
girl.
go, nope, still top tier
Still
character.
great.
God damn it.
yep.
It's just a matter of whether or not you jump board on a certain character right away or not. Because if you don't, DR2 is it's one of those things that I always I do tell people because I always say it's not a spoiler. It's part of the mechanic. You have to know if you want to do Nagito's support, you have to start it at the start of the game.
Which I was a little mad about. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, but it's fine.
But like I tell people that a lot. I'm like, if you at all have any remote interest in talking to Nagito, you have to at least do the first one. It's one of those weird things where they really should just make you do it because but
You make that the tutorial. Like make that
Like they do
tutorial,
with
'cause, like,
DR1. DR1
DR
forces
straight up
you.
force you into your first one.
Yeah.
I wonder why they do that.
Crazy.
Because
It's almost like they're about to make decisions that they want you to. That, in my opinion, is good game design. And that they go, we're gonna push you towards certain characters for reasons. Smile.
It doesn't have to push you towards characters and then just lets them sit there.
What else have you been up to, John?
But yeah, so I went out to see Mason. That was fun. I finished DR1. That was fun. Still working on Fire Emblem, and that might be delayed come this weekend because Octopath 2 is coming out today. My
fuck.
package is coming in the mail
God.
tomorrow.
Did you play the demo?
no.
Okay.
I'm waiting for my package to come in the mail, in which I have I got the collector's edition, so I got a bunch of shit.
Ah,
I got the little like figurines. It's so cute. I was like, I love this game. I gotta get it. So I'm excited for that. But that's not gonna come till Saturday, which is tragic. But I work all weekend, so I'm not too torn up about it. Outside of that, I think that's kind of it. Play some Pokemon, getting ready for Fort Wayne and stuff next month. At the end of next month, so that's gonna be exciting.
Nice.
So we're gonna speed run what I've done. I got a part-time job. That's why I was available so late today. I work from 3 to because I'm in training. It's 2 to 7 Monday through Thursdays. It's going to
Let's
turn to just 3
go.
to 7.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I work as a math tutor at a math place.
Nice.
Boy, is it a fun time trying to teach math concepts you learned in like 2nd grade, and you have to like in your brain you have to realize that kids don't understand what subtraction is yet. So the concept of explaining subtraction is so wild.
You take a number.
Like-
So the best way I found as an uncle is to use actual things, like is to have like
like having physical things, it's stuff like that. But like we like one kid was learning the concept of adding and subtracting fractions with different denominators, and explaining the concept of needing to make the denominators the same and how to do that is so it's in my brain it's like so easy. You just you get your least common multiple, you do the thing, you multiply the stuff, boom, you're done. But explaining that to a kid who has no clue what you're saying is like, huh?
I had a really hard time going out with fractions, and then I just hit a point where it clicked. And I never had a problem with it again until they fucking showed up in like the bottom of like fucking the inside of shit that they should not be in, such as exponents. In which case, I wanted to scream. But yeah, no, I remember that being. It was one of those things where it's like eventually some of that stuff just clicks because calculus just becomes insane.
I really enjoy how back in high school I was able to like do most math things like pretty easily. Like I was in calculus and then dropped that because I was like, fuck this, I don't want to do it. And now I can barely do addition. Thanks.
I did calc. I did pre-calc, and I was like, I could do AP calc. And I looked at myself in the mirror and went, I don't want to do AP calc. I just did regular calc to finish out my high school.
I did all of the actual learning of calculus, and then my 3rd trimester I decided to quit. My teacher was like, "Why? Because we're not learning anything new." I was like, "Nah, man, I'm not doing this.
I'm
don't
having
want
panic
attacks like twice a week. I'm not doing this."
And then for college, I took Math 101, which was a statistics light course, where it was like, we're going to explain the traveling salesman problem. And I'm like, oh shit, I understand this way better than half the people in this room, because I took calculus and AP stats.
I didn't have to take a math course in college because I took Trigun. That was enough for GD.
I would have had to start in what was it? It would have been Calc 2 in college, and my degree does not require that. Neither of them. It's great.
I was also an honors student, so they went, yeah, you're fine. You don't need it.
AP stats didn't transfer over to my school because I guess not, but I did get to skip 2 whole history courses. But not 101, which was always my favorite fact, was that AP US doesn't stop you from having to do 101 because 101's world history. Get fucked, idiots. At least here in VA it is. Anything else, Michael? Speedrun.
But yeah, so job.
We just went on a math tangent. I'm so mad at us.
Yippee. Started playing Neon White. That game is certainly the goofiest fucking... I'm just playing it for the game. I just quickly trying to get through just like the playing stuff. I'll probably go back and like actually like watch the dialogue, because I know the dialogue's the corniest stupid shit ever.
It's dumb as hell and I love it.
Hi, Steve Bloom, right?
Yes.
Like all of the dialogue is absolutely written by like it's supposed to be designed to be like geeky XD edgy 14-year-old, but like ironically, so it's great.
The whole point of it is supposed to be, God, this is kind of cringe. Why do I like this?
I remember
the gameplay's great. 10 out of 10 experience.
I remember Neon White being described, like Neon White the character being described to me as, it's Steve Bloom if he just got to go full unhinged Spike the entire game.
And started reading Haikyuu from where anime ended. That's pretty cool. Haikyuu's cool. It's certainly a little hard to fucking see some shit, because there's a lot happening in some of these panels.
Yeah,
volleyball's a hard sport to a lot of manga sometimes is really hard to follow, especially when you're used to anime adaptations of it. But like,
Hey, Michael.
He's good.
Nice T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yo, thanks. I got it for Christmas from my sister.
Hey, good gift. Something that I will say is that while I need to desperately catch back up on a lot of shit, I'm also gonna get shot once stuff that was announced in this past Nintendo Direct comes out, because oh my lord, is there a lot of stuff I'm interested in from that ballpark. Hi, thanks for Bait & Kato's remake. Now I don't have to load up the 4 discs I have for the GameCube. That game's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, you
It's
also
games
have
over
them,
there.
Michael?
I only own Eternal Wings.
Okay.
I don't own Origins.
Origins, yeah.
Or
I
the-
like that they refer to it as 1 and 2. I'm like, it's a game and a prequel. You can't call it 1 and 2.
Yeah.
It's like me trying to explain to my friends who are getting into Fire Emblem how they should engage with the franchise.
Oh, fuck, Chainsaw Man chapter.
Not fun to do. I really have to
Chainsaw
catch
Man.
up on that. Are we good, though, to roll into anime?
Yes, please.
Yeah, we need to do
Ocean
that. We
Coast
need-
Peak, so make sure you guys catch up on that at some point. Thank you, bye.
Oh, I guess I should say, PR time. Let me go drop this into our chat as well. I bolded
yeah.
this week. It's back. I bolded. There's not a lot of bold because apparently we share a really weird brain cell this week. A couple of us on certain decisions. There was a show I was really surprised I didn't have to bold.
Whoa!
We'll talk about it. It's
This is a weird
interesting.
week. What, is it Ice Guy?
No, I'm really surprised at how high you and Michael both have Sugar Apple Fairy Tale, but we'll talk about it.
Actually insane how you dropped it 6 places.
I'm gonna talk
Yeah.
about it. It should maybe be above Angel.
Listen, it's
Why does it
shoujo
have it
bullshit.
below
I'm
it?
down for it.
Hold on, it maybe should be above Angel, but we won't worry about that again. It's
That's okay. It makes me feel better that you put Angel above it. I know they're
Okay.
both not perfect, but
We'll talk. I have lots of things to say about lots of stuff.
Let's get it moving.
Let's get into it. Tomo-chan this week. I love this episode.
pretty
I
good.
will let in on a little bit of a secret. Since I've read the manga, I did allow myself to engage with a couple of clips that Crunchyroll posted, even when we hadn't watched some of the episodes. So I had seen the Beating Carol's mother clip because I was like, I have to. I love. We now officially at the end of this episode have met all 3 mothers, and by that I mean we've met all 3 of our characters grown up.
Yes.
The only person whose family we aren't allowed to meet is Jun's. But first bit of the episode, three real segments. First segment is going to Carol's house. She's a princess. I can't get over the scene of her mom's going, "You're here to cause trouble with my daughter because you're a boy." Boobs. And just the way the sub does it, which is oppai.
Oppai.
It just goes so well, and I
The dub shooter just goes, "Oh, you have boobs. Anyway, or
anyway.
you have breast."
Very good. I love every interaction between Carol and Gundo still of just the time to give you a hug. No. We have the same
Almost.
braids. No. You're here to take advantage of my daughter. No, I'm actually here for your money. Smiles.
Sure you are.
She's won another game. Why does it feel like I've lost? And then they get bodied in fucking Othello.
That killed me. Like,
It's
the bit that Carol's actually kind of smart is what
yeah,
fucks
no,
with me.
it's
so
wonderful
funny.
that she's a super genius, which leads us into part 2 of the episode, which is Tomo's forgotten it's midterms. Gundo's going to have a study session. Carol's invited, we guess. June's like, "Hey, I'll tutor Tomo." And Gundo's like, "And how'd you do on the last exam?" And he's like, fine. And she goes, "I got number 1," and he immediately wants to crawl into an abyss. And then we get a great scene where Tomo's like, "I've never seen you get like that." And Gundo just kind of rests her head back on her and is like, "I get to be selfish once in a while, deal with it." And then we get to meet Gundo's mother, who is like, "Tomo, why do you look like your mom? Stop looking like your mom, do not be your mother. Your mother's a nightmare." And then looks at Carol and goes, "I'm not sold." And then we get the nice little bit. Well, then Carol does math in her head, and Gundo does the school teacher thing, which is "No, you have to show your work. Please stop. This is not fair. I am smart. I show my work. Stop. You make no sense." It is the power training element of a shonen show where they go, "How do I do the thing?" And the guy goes, "You just go whoosh and whoosh and pow. But Carol does it as you have a friend underneath a bracket and the other friend under the bracket, and then they become this. And it goes, yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Carol. And then we get the nice little scene where Tomo's like, I want to go to the same college as you, Gundo, and we all go, that's not happening. But it makes Gundo really happy. And it's a nice friend moment. And then Carol goes, me too. And she gets accepted for once. That's fine. And then she beats Gundo on the rankings for the exams. And June hangs both of their hair accessories on the class door, which I think is great. And then the last part of the episode, June invites Tomo to play a game, to play soccer games, to video game it up. Tomo calls him Gamer Boy. And she also looks like a feral animal in that flashback where she's just crouched on top of the fence gate like, hello,
Gremlin.
Gamer Boy.
Yo, what was he playing, though? That's the real question.
Yeah.
We'll never get the
FIFA.
answer.
Polymorph FIFA.
On the DS.
He was playing
he
he was playing like Jackie Chan's Karate Master or something, I'm sure. But then Tomo goes, "Oh no, I've managed to sneak my way into a sleepover with a boy. I'm in high school. This is not good. Girls, I need to abort." And they both go, "No, you're trapped here. We're not allowing you to leave." And then they get out Tomo's case for being like, "No, June, I'm gonna walk home with the girls. I'll meet you later." And they go, what an odd implication you've given him. It's like, shut up, please. And then Akemi gets excited because she's like, I'm gonna get a grandchild. And Tomo goes, why did you go there? And then her dad has the same mentality as June because parent parallel. And he's just like, yeah, that's cool. Go ahead, go over, be nice. Why are you still here? Leave. And then Tomo finds out his parents aren't home. And then we get a slightly weird scene about her not wanting to take a bath because he just took a bath, but then also almost going into the bathwater. It is a little weird. Tomo does a couple of weird things this episode, one of which being after they talk about how late they stay up. Oh my boy, they would hate our podcast. But they start to sleep and Tomo's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look at Jun's ear. And I'm gonna pinch his nose. And I'm gonna get put into a chokehold and made to sleep next to him for the night. At which point June explodes the next morning. And then we get a little bit where it's like, they were not the same for the next week. And then everything went back to normal. And that's the episode. I adore this episode. Lots of cute moments. Lots of great character dynamics being extended. Mothers. All the things you could want.
Of course.
Yeah, no, this episode was just great and fun.
This episode was hilarious.
I will have to check out the dub because Michael was talking about Carol's family and the British voice. And in the sub, it very much is just her mom just very much goes, Carol-chan! And it just sounds like an English speaker who has learned decent Japanese, but is still very clearly from like Britain or like the US.
Yeah.
Other thoughts on Tomo, gang?
Well, that was good. I like this episode a lot. I like the family dynamic. I like Carol the more I see Carol. Like,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Carol.
I
She's
wasn't
so
the biggest
good.
fan of Carol on like first introduction. I was like, it may have just been like the voice and like the general like Airhead. I'm not the biggest fan of Airhead characters generally. They need to have like a little more.
And she does.
Yeah, and then they just kept adding more to her, and I was like, okay, no, maybe this is actually good.
Yeah.
Maybe I enjoy this. This episode was absolutely fantastic for her.
I forgot about the part where she's just like, my mother was like, you are like pudding. And Gunda's just like, and she ended it off with saying, don't let people eat you. And she's like, how'd you know? And also the little bit of a dagger they hide in that little bit where you're looking at the photo album and it's all the kids at school playing and it's the two girls next to each other and then Carol's just slightly out of frame alone.
Mm-hmm.
so good.
You're not allowed to forget that some of these characters have trauma.
Yes. The show's just good. It's funny. It's, I think, a solid romance. Like, I just enjoy it. It's really, I feel like it's also probably a really good adaptation of a 4-panel. We've been getting a lot of those lately, where
Yeah.
it's just 4 panels have been really good lately.
Something I will say that I like, and this is where I'm going to fire a kind of shot. I feel like Tomo and Jun are much more realistic of like a friend dynamic than we see in Angel Next Door, which, to be fair, for Angel's case, it is supposed to be a different kind of we know each other situation. It's not your typical, but one thing I'll say is I feel that Tomo's writing feels a lot more realistic than some of the stuff in Angel does in terms of rom-com. I like its writing a lot. And that has always been something that's stuck with me about Tomo. Mason,
I think
we
it's
have...
just a good show. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's just good times.
It's time to talk about the dog in the room. Mason,
Fire
what the
Hunter?
dog's doing?
What that dog doing?
Dog doing.
So we start this episode. Our ragtag gang that got blown off a train. They're in the forest with the tree folk, and suddenly they get attacked by these spiders, which are people who are in. They're fighting against society. We live in a society. They end up fighting. We get a new fire hunter. I'm
Akira.
not gonna lie. Akira. I was blanking on her name. Thank you.
He has a chihuahua.
She's a red hair. She's
yes.
a red hair female character. I'm not gonna forget her name.
Understandable. She's wonderful. So she saves them. They get to the next village. They go and bathe for the first time in like weeks. And then she's just like, "Hey, you're trying to go to the capital, right? I'll take you there. Just give me like one of those sheets of muku paper that you got." Cool. Okay, let's get going. Also, there's a bath scene. Anyways, they start going. They're going to this port that's on the ocean, and they believe that they're going to get to the capital in like 3 days, which is kind of wild considering that when Toko left, they told her that it would be like 6 months before they got to the capital. But then again, there's a bunch of villages and stuff, so it kind of makes sense. And then we cut to Koshi. Koshi is at a party, and he has a fucking nightmare that's kind of wild. Just a lot of weird shit happens in it, and then he just kind of like comes back to reality to find that he's at a party with a bunch of fire hunters. He ends up like talking to them for a bit. He talks with his new sister for a little bit.
Dogs.
And then what?
There's a lot of dogs.
There's a lot of dogs. His new sister knows all the dogs. And then there's one, the "Let Me Do It For You" dog that she's never seen before, and she's like, "Huh, that's weird. I don't know you."
Anyway.
And she gets called back by her mom, so she has to leave. And then Koshi meets the guy who owns that dog, who has Fiend Fire, like more Skyfire. And he's like, and Koshi's like, "Hey man, I want to know about Skyfire." And the guy goes, "Cool, come on a hunt with me." And we cut back to Toko and gang. Toko and gang get to this port, and it's burned to the fucking ground. Also, in between this point, I forgot to mention, they pick up a kid who was a spider, who the spiders just kind of left behind. And his name is Kun.
Mm-hmm.
Just Kun. We find out that spiders, the reason why they're kind of scary is the fact that they figured out a way to not just die when in the presence of natural fire. They found out that if you get bitten by a certain bug, its venom just makes it so you're immune to fire, which is wild. And then they start going to this boat, and a bunch of fiends attack, and our train boy gets an eye ripped out, and Toko ends up killing one of the fiends with the scythe, or with the sickle that she's got. They get on the boat, they leave. The Akira says, "Man, that kid, you got some style. You should maybe think about being a fire hunter." And that's where the episode ends.
Over the shot of a big whale.
Yes, there's a big ass whale.
There was a big whale. It was kind of wild.
I I'm not gonna lie. I think this episode was a lot better than our previous episodes. I think we got a lot of stuff that was interesting, and it's actually moving the plot forward, which I like. I think adding Akira to the group makes Toko's group more interesting. Like learning more about the spiders is cool. And honestly, the stuff with Koshi was actually relatively interesting this week, which is news. That's new for this show. So I think this episode was much better than the previous ones have been, personally. What do you guys think?
I think there's a lot. The show keeps adding a lot, and it takes a lot to parse what characters I need to care about and keep track of things. I do agree that I like Akira. The episode goes really fast, which is maybe a blessing for it, depending on how you feel about the show. I like the pace of it, personally, and I do think that I think where I stand with it though is that like I wish its animation was a little better in terms of its fights. I wish it was like I wish it was as clean and as like fascinating to me as like some of the more recent action based shows are that we've gotten, but that's clearly not what it's going for. So I get it. I really like there are certain elements where I really like how the show looks. I'm really growing to like the actual insert splash arts thing. I think they're really cool and highlight certain characters in unique ways. I'm not a big fan of the continual CGI shot of the manor and the weird picture-in-picture thing we keep doing. In some cases where I'm like, it's just weird. I don't hate it, but it's weird, and I don't.
I will say this: the bit where they did the picture-in-picture thing, and her dog just shows up out of nowhere and just barks, and then it goes. Fucking killed me.
Yes, that is
good. I know
good.
it's not supposed to be funny, but it was fucking hilarious.
I didn't like the action shots when they were fighting the beast, though. It was weirdly disjointed.
There are elements of it where I'm like, I would really like this if I feel like we were here a little longer and it was like a little prettier in terms of the amount of time we're spending on everything.
What was that shot where like the dog comes in to try to save him from the one beast, and then he still just gets fucking sprayed, and you're like, what?
Yeah, and then and then the dog wrestles that beast for the next like minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just rolling it up on the fucking
and
ground.
also like the giant bear one that's coming at them and jumps at the girl, and then she slices through it, and I'm fine with that, but like that's not going to change its direct trajectory that much. It should still go at the girl.
I chalk it up to weird camera angle and sickles.
I chalk up to bullshit, but I get it.
I chalk it up to this is a fantasy thing.
Yes.
A little bit of fancy bullshit. A little bit of fancy bullshit. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a little bit of fancy bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot here. I like parts of it. This is not the thing that's on my list to get rid of. Comparatively to some other stuff for me personally. There's enough little bits of intrigue of some of the characters and some of the ideas going on that I like. Overall, I mean, the show's called Fire Hunter. I like engaging with the Fire Hunters. Yeah, there's just I have a lot of odd, like, not entirely sold on this show feelings though. That's where I sit with it.
I'm really getting the feeling with this show that like the longer it goes, the better it's going to get, and it's going to give a lot of like. I feel like once we get into the actual thick of it, where like, I don't know, it seems like the fire hunters are fighting against the spiders. I think that's going to be interesting and stuff like that. It's just we got to get there, and I understand that that's taking a minute. So
I also think
I fully agree.
I also think the show has a lot of very interesting and very particular choices in direction and production that I think if you're not on board with. And you're not gonna get on board with it, it's going to be a very hard watch. To me, this is like I think about Hibiki Monogatari, which came out a while ago, To Your Eternity, like stuff that takes very particular stylistic approaches to their products. That some people are just gonna be like, no, actually, I think I'm good. This doesn't click for me. But like, you'll probably wind up with an end product that the people who watch it really, really like it. Because that's what this feels like to me. Even like from just the beginning, but I don't know if I'm sold yet.
Fair.
See, my thing with the show is that, like, at least especially this episode, it goes fast. It just starts fucking throwing shit at you. It feels they introduce like 5 new characters or something. It feels like this episode. It may actually be like 2, but it just feels like a ton of like random new characters are added.
3 if you count the Spider Kid.
Yeah, it's
I
three.
got lost and didn't care to go figure out where I was and just kind of sat there and went,
Mhm.
they're doing stuff now.
I was
I
not
did-
expecting to get to
I
the
don't
boat
know.
this episode. That felt just send it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like again, I think the speed of this episode can be a blessing or a curse depending on where you were at with it beforehand. For me, I like the speed. I get also getting lost in it.
Like the scene, like the thing where Koshi's having the dream. That was like a really cool scene. Like I
Yeah.
heard the piano, I was like, "Holy shit!" And I started like actually paying attention. I was like,
You're
"Wait, what the
it was like-
wait? Where the
Yeah.
fuck did this come
You're
from?" though?
taking a nap. You're like, oh, fire hunter. Hold up, let him cook.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
my-
Kobe
I was
stuff
like,
was
what?
interesting.
Yeah,
this week.
and my brain immediately went, okay, this is a dream. We're building a dream here, right? And then the way it cuts, I go, was it? And then we finally see, I'm like, okay, we're good. He's clearly having a
Yeah.
panic attack
No,
about
it
it. It was
was.
clearly a dream, but it's such an odd transition to something.
It's also weird for him to have a dream at a party.
I think the idea is he had it earlier. It's still
it's still, like,
bothering him
resonating
to
with
get
him.
into
That's
that.
what they're going for. But
Sometimes
like,
you're a little bit haunted by
but
having
like
a
he was
dream
like
that your
sweating
sister
at the
dies.
party is the thing for me.
Yeah.
Like he was like sweating like he just had that dream, and I was like, bro,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
I also think that there's a lot of stuff that if the show is going to, and this is how I felt about with Koshi for a lot of the show, as is that if you're going to use a lot of the stuff that I feel like they're building in like the house that is this manor, a lot of things that are happening with Koshi can be really interesting. The conversations about the fire hunters and how they perceive his father, and like how they perceive this family at the manor, and how much better of a state of living it is, and how like they're like, oh, Koshi, you should like fatten up more. You should get meat on. I'm like, none of this. Like again, there's that like overwhelming feeling of like dread and uncertainty about his position at this house that like I think is, again, as if the show is going to use it, which I don't know if it's going to, because I don't know when things are going to happen with Koshi. I'm thinking maybe soon, given the fact that he's going out on a hunt. I'm excited though if they use that, because I think that'll be really good. It'll show the show's done a really good job building tension and something that it's planning to use later.
Yes, I fully agree with that.
I could see that. But I mean, yeah, like the whole fighting at the boat thing though was just like I just didn't like that scene personally. Like again, I'm still not a big fan of the animation. Like sometimes it looks pretty okay when it's in action. Like I like the Ryu a lot, but I'm really just not liking a lot of the like fights with these beasts. I guess it feels a little bit like everything's just a little bit off or disjointed to me. But we'll see if it grows on me.
Fair enough.
High card this week. I'm back. It's just the way this is gone. High card this week. Decides we're gonna flush out the world and not focus as much on the card or the main group. By focusing in on this detective. What's her name? They say it like once at the start.
Detective Unlucky is I think her name.
It's like it starts with an S, I
don't
think.
remember.
Because they say it when he has her go in for the interview, or they at least have a nickname for her.
Is my internet dying?
Correct. It'll be okay. Well, it'll buffer out.
Yeah, we'll
but-
have those scratches, Cap.
This episode, understudy detective who we've had at least in the background of a couple of these episodes be like, hey man, why aren't we getting more involved? And the main detective's like, nah, not our place. Don't worry about it. Confidential. Deal with it. She's getting a little fed up with it, and she's really fucking cracking the code on this case. They do not do a good job of hiding a lot of this information, clearly, if she's able to just, reach into a couple of files and figure it out. She's figured out there's something going on with the car company that is an Italian name that I don't feel like saying, Pinocchio or something like that along those lines.
Pinochle. It's called
Pinochle.
Pinochle.
Yeah.
It's a card game.
God, that is what it is.
It's a card game, Pinochle.
Japanese saying it. Yeah. So you
Pinocchio.
have Pinochle, and then you have the Klondikes, the Mafia family. Mason will be back to join us.
Mafia family.
And we see that our boy John Doe's alive. And at the start of the episode he is. Hold on, we'll get there. And she's like, "Hey, I got you. detectives, police officers, we're on your side. We're supposed to do right and bring justice. And he's like, that's almost motivational. We're a mafia family. I need, like, more than, like,
How do you, like,
nice
witness
words.
protection?
And she's like, we'll get you into witness protection. You'll be fine. He's like, okay, I'll talk a bit, I guess. And she then goes to investigate Pinochle. And we get this little hint that the head detective here is like also is very familiar with what's going on with both the Klondikes and the Pinnacles, and he makes the call to the head of the Pinnacle family, who is what, Leo's dad is what we know, seemingly in some capacity, and he's kind of like, look, man, I'm doing what I do. You want answers? You could try to talk to the head of the Klondikes, see if he'll answer you. I don't think he will. So then the detective goes off to attend a charity event to save the starving children. Charity event. At which point we get to see that Bobby's alive. Let's go, Bobby. He might have his card still. I thought we got it. I guess we didn't.
Yeah, that's what I was confused about too.
Yeah.
It's like he threatened like he's like, I'll marble you, and I'm like, will you? Can you?
I thought he was fucking dead.
And yet he apparently didn't fucking die, which is
He didn't
impressive.
die in the car explosion that happened right next to him, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm sure the mafia has their ways. It's fine.
I'll talk about this group in a second when we get more into it. Meanwhile, understudy detective tracks Finn Oldman down. And Finn's like, goddamn Klondike's over here. And runs after her with his gun out, and she's like, hey, I'm a cop. You're under arrest. And then they get hit by a fucking bus. They get hit by a fucking bus.
It does happen, doesn't it?
The second half of this episode goes hard.
It got really dark.
Yeah, no, the detail in this episode's insane.
Man, that fucking. I'm just thinking about it now. It hurts my neck.
There's a couple of screenshots. There's a screenshot here. There's a screenshot I chose not to use that we'll talk about. But Finn's like, hey, that bus is about to be dropped on us. Please uncuff me, and I'll make sure we won't die. And she goes, yeah, okay. And they do that. Meanwhile, at the charity event, we get to meet Bon Klondike. That's his name, Bon, right?
Yeah.
It's Bon. And he's like, hey everybody, this is a roast session about you fuckers. This is our 14th charity meeting to save the starving children. At some point in time, they'll be saved. It's the most apparent this is the cover for a mafia event I've ever seen. Where it's like,
We're not the mafia.
We're here for the 14th week to talk about the starving children who we could definitely save if we pulled our resources in the right places. I mean, we've lit on the moon, baby. Why are children still starving? Meanwhile, here's John Doe, who betrayed my mafia family. I want to remind you all what happens when you do that.
By the way, I don't drink.
By the way, I don't drink. Don't worry about that fact. It's not important. I don't drink. John Doe, why would you betray the family? And he fucking looks at me. He's like, I lost the card, dude. You weren't going to forgive that. He goes, you're damn right. And he starts twisting his neck as we cut back and forth between this speech he gives, which starts to make everybody in the room very uncomfortable, as well as a lady with an umbrella who is just approaching Finn and her understudy detective, and Finn goes, oh shit, this ain't good. Pulls out his gun, because I think the idea is he sees the gloves on her hands, which is his hint that, oh, you're a card player, got it. Pulls out his gun and she goes, no, throws a trash can with telekinesis. And then you get a very oh shit moment where you realize that Finn's gun turns without him moving it as she's telekinesis his fucking gun in his hands, and points it directly at the detective, who she's also force choking from a good distance away. And then you hear the gunfire and you're like, oh fuck. And thankfully, it was just a warning. She's just playing with him. But Bond's not playing, and he has literally turned this man's head 360 degrees. And then pours alcohol on him to remind you all that he does not drink. And then he talks to the old detective, and the old detective's like, hey man, what happened in Foreland? I need to know what happened with you and the king, because you got all the cards together, and the ceremony was going to go, and they were going to announce a new king, and then what, you attacked? You can tell me, we're old pals, we're drinking buddies, and he goes, I don't drink, and walks away. This guy is this show is so JoJo in certain ways.
It is.
That I can't help but look at this guy and be like, yeah, this is what Adam was in Escape the Infinity, was just clearly a DOS character embodied.
Look, I made a tweet about this
Yes,
earlier
you
this
did.
week, which was literally just high card is just JoJo's, but the cards are real as opposed to naming conventions, which
Yeah.
makes it even cooler.
So we have this really odd thing where he has a way to twist John Doe's neck, and she has a weird telekinesis thing, and I'm not quite sure how similar they are to each other. It's very interesting that both these characters related to the Klondike show up in the same episode. We can have the conversation that I know John wants to have in a minute. Yeah, the detectives, there's like this weird implication that like the head of Pinocchio, fucking Pinochle. I know my brain does not want to say it right. The head of Pinochle, leader of Klondike, and this weird old detective dude were all pals back in the day. And then after he leaves and is like, I'm a detective. I have a smell of the case. And then he meets up with his apprentice. He's just like, hey, we have some things we gotta talk about. I admire your spunk, kid. There's a balance we gotta keep as detectives. Law and chaos, the scales. Also, the guy you put in witness protection, fucking dead. That's on you, but proud of you, kid. Let's see where you go from here. And then he stares at Finn's file and is like, Finn Oldman, huh? And closes it. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm sure there's nothing going on there. Probably don't know Finn's dad or something. Probably wasn't involved with you guys in some weird way, I'm sure. We're just building
I'm sure he has
that
no
one up.
connection with the mafia. He just happened to go to the charity fundraiser.
He just knows them so well. This episode is fucking insane. That is to say, it's a high card episode. I really like what it does for the setup of like the dynamic of the world we're in, where it's very much like you definitely don't feel like you can trust either of these organizations named after card games. Nor do you feel that either of them is probably telling the truth about the other. Also, there's a weird amount of chemistry between Finn and the detective, where like they're together, and I'm like, I know we were worried about him getting with the only other female character, but hear me out, we have a second female character, and they're kind of clicking. I don't know.
I kind of like the detective.
She's got
where it absolutely does not belong, and she's like, "Fuck it."
She has that little speech at the end about how she was like, when I was a kid, I wrote into a newspaper to tell them that they had a typo, and they responded, "Thank you," and gave me pencils, and that made me feel important. And I'm like, wow, you are something, and you're gonna get hurt a lot this show, aren't you?
She's gonna die.
Oh, if not die, she's definitely gonna get tortured.
She's gonna get very wounded. I am under the opinion that I think the power scaling of these abilities are fine, because I think that the show is smart enough to use the idea of the team together to overcome certain powers in a way that's going to work, right? We've already had that hinted at with Finn's conversation. Can she telekinetic fucking plants? I don't know. We'll have to, maybe VJ's the answer. We haven't gotten a lot with him. Maybe his shit's, maybe like the cards have like a weird fucking, instead of a triangle that Fire Emblem has, it has a weird cube dynamic where it's like this one beats that one.
And these two are just kind of even.
Yeah.
I'm just really hoping that we don't have a Starfinger problem in the show. That's all I want.
I don't know what that means.
We're just introduced stupid powers that are used once to deal with one thing.
So the Starfinger problem is that in JoJo's, Jotaro's stand is a close range, high power stand. It does not work at range because he has a range of 3 meters. That's it. And then the show randomly, when he's in a situation that he cannot get out of, they introduce something called Starfinger, which is just he can just extend his stand's finger to like 10 meters for some fucking reason. And it's never used again. It's used once again.
Wonderful.
It's essentially introducing random powers that are used once. And some of the stands it's literally just they have this power that's like super cool that's used once. Cough, cough, kakyoing. It introduces a different stand.
What I will, one of the things I did want to say though, is that I'm really liking the Klondike set of goons we have going here. Have we lost Mason again? I want him to be here for this statement.
Yeah, I do believe we lost him.
This is a great face he's making.
I know, I click it so that it doesn't get stuck on that the whole time. Hi, welcome back. Maybe a bit. It'll probably buffer out again one more time like it does, and then... will be here. One thing I can say. Okay. The thing about the Klondike henchmen is that they feel very much like Salem's Court from movie. They have immense badass energy where they really probably shouldn't have, and they all give me like, you are all deranged psychos. Neat, wonderful, can't wait. The other thing, the animation this episode is really good, and in a way that is terrifying because of the things they do with it.
Yeah.
Next.
I'm also curious about like. Okay, listen. The only thing I'll say about high card before we move on though is the fact that like, well, you say like the power scaling feels fine. I also think it feels really weird because it feels like sometimes Finn's power is a little bit too strong for being the literal worst card in the entire thing. Like honestly, just having a gun feels pretty OP a little bit. Like and being able to shoot perfectly straight, that seems pretty solid. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that feels really good, and then you compare it to, oh, this person has telekinesis with what we've seen a very high limit to the weight she can lift with that.
Yeah, and like
Snapping a neck and lifting a bus are both things that require a very large amount of force.
But she's also able to hold the neck while also controlling Finn's gun, which is probably
and controlling
less...
his gun. And it looks like she can do like X amount of things, like I think an amount of stuff per finger.
Yeah.
And it took one finger to take control of the gun.
Yeah, because she has the different... Again, I am trusting this show in that it is going to design powers in ways that, while might be really dumb and really busted, do have like the clever drawbacks that when like VJ gets to like analyze it, he'll be able to figure out. Like John Doe's power, like he was able to click like, oh, I understand now what this is. And I'm very excited. This gives me... This is probably the deepest pull I'm going to take ever. This what it feels like they're setting up is the fucking Shadow Riders of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, where it's like, we have the perfect counter for this play, and then it's like Zane gets his shit kicked in by Camila, and you go, how? How did we let this happen? How did they counter him? He's literally untouchable. Like, they have similar energy, these two groups. I'm like, what? Finn Goldman is just Jaden Yuki.
I hate that you're right.
People who know.
I hate that you're right.
That
I can't wait for Finn to kill all of his friends.
That's season 3 of High Card, baby. He becomes the Supreme King. And your thoughts on High Card before I move us?
No, High Card was really good this week.
High Card was good. I just like the other 4 shows more.
Okay, let's do our little drop down. So that we can check in on where we are with some things as we head into Angel Next Door. To be fair, by the way, I have Angel Next Door at the exact same spot as 2 other people on this podcast, so I don't feel as bad about where it is. But also, like, maybe Sugar Apple should be higher than it still.
One of those is me, Sean.
I know, it's crazy. Talk about your show.
So, Angel Next Door this week. I'm just going to literally read what the description says on Crunchyroll because I think it's great for it. It's so detailed. Mahiru and Amane ring in the new year together. When the exhaustion from cooking catches up with Mahiru, she falls asleep in Amane's arms. Amane has no choice but to let her stay the night in his bed. No choice but to let her stay the night in his bed. Again,
he works through all 3 of the countermeasures he has, and the only one that works is to let her stay in his bed.
Of course, and her sleeping peacefully, but totally unguarded. Gives him a little bit of a jolt, is what it says.
I'm glad it describes it in a way that makes me as uncomfortable as that scene plays out.
Yeah. The sight of her sleeping peacefully, totally unguarded, gives him a bit of a jolt. 2 days later, his parents come to visit. This time we have Dad involved. She mistakes him for his brother. It's funny, haha, because he's so young. Then the parents suggest, hey, let's go to the Shrine on New Year's. He's like, great, we'll go. And she's like, no, we're taking her too. We don't care about you. We'd rather just take her because she's cute. And I brought a kimono for her to wear because I'm obsessed. Like, the mom fucking packs a kimono with her on the suitcase for her. She's like, you're coming to the Shrine, right, Mahiru? Thanks, great. Amane, obviously, Giga Chad that he is, definitely doesn't waver at all when she's in a kimono. By that I mean he literally shits his bricks because she's so adorable, per quote. Meanwhile, the opposite, Mahiru is just like, he's so handsome in his dress clothes and his bangs being out of his eyes and his hair being brushed.
Looks so bad. Go back to unbrushed. Return
Yes.
to
Like, fuck.
Gremlin.
It's like, fuck, go back. And then like and then we have the end of the episode where they go back to school and everyone's like, yo, did you see the angel with like that guy on New Year's? Oh my god, she got a boyfriend, he's kinda hot though. And then they're just like, well, at least they don't recognize it's me. And that's kind of where we leave off on this episode. Is like, oh darn, would that really be? Is that really the bad thing that they're thinking we're together? That's crazy. Just by holding hands, ha 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 ha. It's bad for my heart. Did that kind of summarize everything, guys?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
pretty much.
I started reading most of it, and then I just kind of like went off the rails with the kimono thing. But
I saw. That's
fine.
fine. It
it's
works.
basically it's just like basically recaps the entire thing. But I mean, it's more of it's cute. There's hijinks. It's a decent, feel good kind of time. The parents are wonderful. I like how the mom just comes in and is just like, so you're coming to the shrine too, right, Mahiru? You're not going to disappoint me with this kimono I brought just for you, right? Because I want to dress you up in cute clothing. Because I always wanted to take my daughter to New Year's, and we're like, you don't have a daughter. Oh, right. And then they're just like, take care of him. It's fine. Just completely glossing over the fact that they're not technically dating, but the parents are just like, no, you are. It's fine.
They know where the show's going.
Yeah, they know how this is
Probably.
going. It's gonna be like 3 years of high school, and then they'll finally confess, and then they'll get their child. What do you guys think about it?
It's fine. It's entirely like, yeah, it's low on my list, but like I just like other stuff more. I think the show's fine.
See, if I didn't dislike other shows more than I dislike more than this, the show would have dropped like 3 places. The first half of this episode I actually hated. Before the parents
Understood.
show up, he felt like our main boy felt like a different character than he had been for 4 episodes before this. Because his whole thing is that he has this like cool, calm energy, and they just entirely removed it and made him a fucking creep. And it
He's
actually
had
sucked.
he's
for the
had
first,
a
like, 8
little bit
minutes.
of this for a
But
bit
they
now.
they fucking ham-fisted.
Yeah,
It
they
is really bad.
this one like
he should why is he saying the line, "You are lucky I didn't do anything to you"? That feels so wrong and so out of character for him.
Michael, you
Yeah.
summarized why I think this is the way it is on one of your earlier comments. You want to talk about the thing that you noticed while I was watching the show, but also you were watching the show 3 minutes ahead of me?
No, oh yeah. My favorite line of, "Oh wow, your parents must be really close as they still use honorifics with each other.
Yeah.
Shows how close you are."
Michael pointed this out, and he was like, "It feels like that entire scene of the parents talking was written by a 14-year-old," and it finally clicked in my brain where I go, "Yes, that's what this show is. It's the rom-com, it's the romance show written by a 14-year-old." Because my brain goes, "Yeah, of course you write the I'm a guy, you're a girl, you're alone in my room. Think of all the things I could have done to you." We were watching this, and I read the bit where I was like, "He's a man, a carnivore, a predator. You can't trust him." And it feels so silly. And then you get the end of this episode, which beat for beat, I literally could have paused and told you how this scene played out, but would have written the dialogue better, which was it's a damn good, it's good that they haven't realized it's me, but it's fine, like, cause you wouldn't date a guy like me. And she goes, "But no, you're a good person. Don't be so down on yourself."
You're
And then,
decent.
well,
Yeah,
no, this is my point of
You're
I
decent.
would have
That
wrote
was a
it
great line. That
better.
was amazing.
You're a
You're a
decent
really
person.
decent guy.
But then the part that gets you is my brain was like, he's gonna fucking go clean the dishes after this, and he does. And I'm like, this is the most, like, by the book scene you could have written, where it's like, what does he do after she's kind of like confessed a little bit in a weird way how much she likes him? Well, he goes into something a little out of character, something that shows how much she's changed him. He goes and cleans the dirty dishes. And it's like, please, you have to stop. Your writing's killing me. It makes me want to die.
Listen, for some people in a relationship, them doing
No,
anything besides just breathing and playing video games is a win.
This show is fine. It's fine as long as they tone down the weird, creepy element that showed up with him. Where, like, I will say the best thing this show can do is subvert my expectations and really go in on the I moved here for a very particular reason on him, and the I haven't talked about my family for a very particular reason on her, and it ending with the two of them not actually being together, because that's what I feel like could make this show interesting and engaging, is if you have these two characters who are building up this, like, oh, we don't like each other, we're just neighbors, like, this dynamic works, and then they don't become a couple. Like, that would actually be refreshing for the genre. but also like they clearly have some things that it feels like they haven't pulled yet. That I feel like they have to soon because oh my god, what else do you do for the remaining fucking 6-7 episodes of this show? I feel like we've run the gambit besides the school festival, which I mean I'm honestly fine with more school setting stuff, because like man, this show takes place in I said it, this show takes place in 3 settings: his classroom, the shrine wall they visit today, and the apartment. And that's the only setting this show takes place. The only set pieces this show has.
Yeah, the best part is both of their it takes place in both of their apartments, but there's no visual distinction between the 2 apartments.
I don't think we've
They're
been in
the
her
same
apartment.
thing.
We haven't.
We haven't seen
It's
inside
only
her
seen, like,
apartment, and it
once.
almost has me worried that she's secretly a serial killer. It's got one of those odd feelings that's like, why haven't you shown me it yet, show? What's in there? What are you hiding? Nothing interesting, I'm sure, but I have hope.
What's in your closet? Is your dead mother? Show me.
Right? Like, the show could go off the handle. I don't know.
Look, I'd be here for that. Honestly,
Right?
I'd be fine with
I don't want to
that.
get my
But
hopes up, though.
I always have my caretaker with me. She's just like a fucking skeleton in her closet, literally.
The show's fine. The show's fine. I don't expect a lot. I have things that would be really incredible to be surprised about, but the show's fine. Like Michael said, if there weren't things that I do audibly have like actual issues with, this show would probably be gone soon. Than it actually will be. Hey Michael, talk to me about the oil baron.
Oh my god, raise the oil baron. So we got our we got the COVID episode. Essentially, this episode boils down to they've spent a lot of money these past like 2 episodes, or that mainly last episode. And they haven't had job. 2 of them haven't gotten a job in a while because they kind of fucked up the last like 2 or 3. Mainly because Miri's there, and it's hard to do a hitman job while caring for a child. And they're like, no, we're good. We're like, okay, we're gonna leave her at daycare and we'll take on some more jobs. They bring her to daycare, grab a bunch of jobs, and the daycare goes, yeah, actually everyone needs to stay home for a week or whatever. Because for a few days, because we don't want everyone to get sick because a virus is spreading. Which it says in a set of subtitles on a piece of paper thing, barely, and you're like, okay, cool, COVID arc, we've done it. Now Miri's home. Oh no, now they can't get to work because they do care for the child, which leads into super wholesome moments with Q for like no reason. This man's the biggest fucking homie ever.
Yes.
Okay. Listen. I'll get to that. I have a thing about that. The super wholesome moments.
I mean, no. Essentially, it shenanigans ensues. They've been pulling all-nighters to get their work done because they can't do their work during the day, so they have to do it at night. And then they also need to take care of Miri in the day, so they just aren't sleeping. So due to lack of sleep and other stuff, while
Kazuki.
I can't think.
Kazuki.
Kazuki.
Yeah. While Kazuki's off trying to go to talk to Q to get help with the work, Miri gets out of the house. Oh no, Miri's on her own. What mischief will she get up to? The mischief she gets up to is getting lost. And then she wanders into Q's bar while the other 2 are looking for her, and she just vibes there. And then through a whole bunch of sillies, Q ends up going, yeah, I'll take care of her so you guys can do your work. And then reveals, yeah, I know who she is. And and he's like, yeah, I know who she is. I know her relationship to you guys right now. And I always decided from the beginning, if it became a problem taking care of a child, I would help. So you guys could actually get your work done, you fucking idiots. And it's just great. And also, Miri's adorable and amazing this episode. She then has to present to her class the jobs that her dads have, which Q tells her are stand-up comedian and Middle Eastern oil baron.
Which, to be fair, I do understand where he's pulled both of these from, right? So because holy shit, is fucking Kazuki so fucking bad Kazuki is so bad at lying that he is literally just a horrible stand-up comedian at times. And then Ray's an oil baron because his dad's the head of the fucking mafia. Or the assassin ring or whatever the fuck they're running
One of
here.
them.
So he basically is... This is the most he can say to be accurate to describe Ray in the moment, besides saying he's a fucking NEET with a gun.
Also, I'm pretty sure we met Ray's dad this episode inadvertently.
No, here's the
No,
thing. This is the
is that
assassin
just
from
the guy from, like,
episode
episode
2,
two?
where he came in and started
Oh,
taking up their
yeah.
job. He's gonna be the main villain of the
Yeah,
season, probably.
Right, forgot about him.
Yeah.
Kind of blitzed through the first 3 episodes,
Yeah.
so it's better than it.
Yeah, no, this episode's just fun. He's cute. You get some good moments with the character. You get the nice wholesome moments
Mhm.
with Q doing stuff and Miri just being Miri. It's just good. It's good buddy daddy's time.
So I want to talk about why it's not in my top 3. And this is something that I do genuinely feel. I think that the show picks up this episode when Miri talks to Q. I think that is the moment this episode flips and becomes really, really good. I don't really care about much of the stuff beforehand. I really don't like Kazuki doing his bit with Q of trying to lie. I think it's bad. I don't like it. It's like, dude, just say it. Just, like, I get why we're running the bit, but I'm tired of it. Like, you're so bad at it, and it's great, and I just don't enjoy it.
It's also very obvious that, like, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's fucking Q.
Like, you need, like, it's just one of those things where it's like, dude, I know you're smarter than this. Stop acting like you're written bad. Like, tell him that you have a problem. And, like, because you could just be like, I have a problem. I don't know how to address this with you. And, like, you can write this in a way where he doesn't look like a total dumbass. But I think the more important thing is, I think this shows tension between being the lighthearted family drama and the intense story about assassins who have a job to do is so much more engaging and compelling than just a simple, this is a father-daughter story. Like, that's nice. That's wholesome. I've had my fill of that in the past couple of seasons. I really think this episode shines when you get that moment where she bumps into the assassin coming out of the door and he lifts her up and you're like, I don't like that this could be a thing in the future I have to be worried about. These two characters should never have met. This is not a line we should have crossed, especially in episode 5. The end dialogue between Q and the guys is so good. This is the shit I want from this show, but it's to me it felt like it's dragged its way here and it's starting to pull this trigger again. It's what I really liked about episode 3 where they confront the mother, and what I really like about, and what I really enjoyed about, like, the first episode where, like, you have the balance between their jobs as assassins and having this child here who is a sweet innocent ball of life and fun. I think that story element, I think you need to have both, and I don't think the last episode did, and I didn't really care for the first half. I still really like this show. I think it's better than a lot of shit we have on the podcast this season. It's just, to me, for it to break into that top 3 like I had it earlier in the first episode, it needs to do more of what it started doing at the end of this episode, where you balance that cute and serious tone, and it really feels like you're striving to go for something that has a really good meaning about these parents' dynamic. And I get that you have to build and set up to it to make it work. But I do really feel like if this episode, like, had hit the end of it sooner, it would be higher for me, for sure. Like, it would probably be above high card for me. That's how I feel about Daddies. Brain's like, I like Tomo. Tomo's too. Would have been high. Like, I might have shuffled things around more. Tomo was always 2. My brain. Buddy Daddy's good though. I like it. I really like the end of this episode. I think it's fucking stellar. Miri's adorable, as always.
Yeah, I thought my days was really good this week. The only thing for me is, like, Q works with all these guys. Him being super nice and friendly to her just still gives me, like, the stop that. I don't make me believe in you, because I don't want to be let down very hard when this turns to shit. Q, listen, like, I love Q, and I hope it's nothing bad. But like, the back of my mind is just like, not a good guy.
You ever see a
I'm
character?
worried.
You ever see a character? You look at them, and you go, "You're fucking Gin from Bleach." And I don't know what about you makes me feel that way, but you feel like Gin from Bleach. That's how I get with with,
No, because I
with
never
Q.
watched Bleach.
Gain is the epitome of you look at this man and go, I'm uncomfortable and I don't know why.
Yeah, until the show tells you why. But
Yes.
that's Bleach.
He is the epitome of character who has his eyes closed. all
Well,
the
yes,
time.
that too.
Yes.
He does both. He plays both of those roles really well.
Also, I just realized the meme that this show did, and I'm mad that it took me this long, but I just realized that Q is just a James Bond reference, and I hate it. I don't know how it took me this long to realize that. It's probably
See, I would have never realized that. I've seen like maybe half of one of them.
Q is the quartermaster for MI6 in James Bond canon.
Oh right, yeah.
I like the fact that the other assassin is just Mr. X.
True, you're right.
He just you're gonna have a scene where he's just hunting down Kazuki and Ray, and Kazuki just closes the door. He's like, "Ray, I think I escaped," and he just punches him face through the door. And then Ray's like, "We'll distract him," and he goes and he closes the door, and then fucking he goes to open it, and then he closes the door, and they just play back and forth of them opening and closing the door at each other. I love Resident Evil.
So good.
Buddy Daddies.
It was good.
It was good.
My days was good.
Can I talk
Yes.
about that show this week?
You're finally allowed to talk, Mason.
Yeah.
Yay.
But you talked about Fire Hunter. You're allowed to talk again.
I mean, I am one of 2 people, I think, that still has 3 shows. So, yeah, I'm one of 2 people that has 3 shows left. It's
I
cool.
mean, we can change that. Like...
It's probably changing this week, but we'll see.
That's a decent shot.
So, Trigun this week was really good.
This isn't the show that might go this week, I'll say that.
No, it's very much not. I don't think this is going for a while, if at all. So Trigun this week, we get to this. We start off the episode with Kid and his mom praying, and there's like a radio cult over the airwaves, and they're praying, and then it cuts to Vash and company driving through the desert, where they're also listening to this radio cult, and basically it's just this cult about like just giving yourself over to death. It's really weird. And they get to this town, and it's a town that doesn't have a plant. Instead, it goes off of wind power. Notably, there is no wind right now, so the town's kind of fucked at the moment. They get into the town, and Vash is immediately attacked by essentially Bane from Batman. Like full mask, gets the chemicals, whole 9 yards. So they start running. Wolfwood and Vash start trying to like distract him a bit while Meryl and Roberto are just kind of there. And we keep getting like cuts of this kid with his mom. And the mom is definitely part of the cult, and the kid's also sick. So we keep learning a little bit more about them, and we learn that this cult sacrifices someone every couple of months or so to get wind, so the town can stay alive. And in one of the flashbacks, we find out that that this kid Rolo is supposed to be sacrificed next, so he runs away. And Vash finds him, and we learn that this is a flashback. Vash brings him back to his mom, and he's like, "Hey, kid, this is scary, and I understand that. But if you ever need help, call me, and I will be there, and I will protect you." Cool. Kid ends up going to go get sacrificed, and he walks in, and we find that it's the doctor and the angel girl from Knives' crew. And he goes, Are you God? And the doctor says the coldest line ever, which is, "The one you think of as God is not in this room right now," which is cold as hell. Rolo gets kidnapped by them and gets experimented on, and they inject him with something where they tell him, "Yeah, okay, so this is going to fight your illness. it's also going to maybe kill you. So we'll see. And it turns him into the monster that's actually hunting Vash. We find out. Vash and Wolfwood start are trying to fight it, find it and get away. Vash knows at this point that this is Rollo, so he starts shouting for him to, hey, get your humanity back. Come on, you're not this kind of thing.
Not this, buddy.
Meanwhile, Meryl and Roberto find the house that this kid used to live in, and and the door is blown down, which we see happen in a flashback again, where the kid goes back to his house, kills his mom, all that fun stuff. And Roberto says it looks like it's been. Oh, bye, Michael.
Something else, Michael. That's a rare one.
Yeah, I know, that's wild.
The exclusive Michael the done.
And Roberto goes, yeah, it looks like this house has been destroyed for 20 years. And then Meryl finds a picture with Vash and Rollo as a baby, which is wild because it tells us that Vash is way older than we think he is.
Yeah, there's another element that also tells us that in a bit.
Yeah. And then cut back to Vash and Rollo and Wolfwood. Rollo grabs Vash and starts smashing him against a wall. Vash is trying to tell Rollo, hey, come on, you're not this. You're a good kid.
Yep, that's exactly how he tells him it.
You're cutting out, Mason.
So, God damn it.
I like how goddamn it
That came through perfectly. I love it.
Oh man, I love League of Legends.
So John, how do you
That's
like our
wonderful.
one-on-one weekly podcast?
So Sean, hear me out. We're just the Action and Slice of Life guy podcast. Welcome back.
Yeah. Mason's kind of here now. Kind of. Oh no.
See. Here's what we had in the podcast a couple seasons ago, Sean. We had our own podcast where it's like slice of life, fantasy, Saints magic powers, omnipotent.
That's exact. No, we've never been more at on par with each other than that moment right there. Hi, Mason, you're back.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm back. Cool. Yeah, so,
Hey,
he's back.
I'm not switching the names yet.
Just crashed and wasn't reopening.
We were having a grand old time
we
on
love
this
that.
podcast.
The stream never dropped, so my Wi-Fi never had a problem there. It was just Discord.
That's crazy.
That's
think Discord's just being a piece of shit lately. But yeah,
Maybe
at the end of this, it looks like Vash may be getting into getting through to Rollo, and Wolfwood just fucking domes him, just shoots him through the head. And Rollo falls off this the structure that they're on and dies. Then we Vash walks, cuts a bit. Vash is going and trying to come back to me, Rollo, you're gonna be okay. Wolfwood tells him to give it up, and Vash gets mad at him. He's like, why the fuck did you kill him? What is wrong with you? And Wolfwood just looks at him and goes, it was a mercy kill. He's not getting his humanity back. This is the best thing that could have been done for him. And Vash stops and is like, that wasn't your choice to make. And we just cut. And it's or no, we don't cut. Wolfwood tells him that he's being a hypocrite and that he's just all talk and he's not actually taking any sort of action. And we cut to Knives' group again, and we find out that Wolfwood is actually part of them. And he's actually one of the experiments that the doctor did. Known as the Punisher. Very cool.
It really makes the joke I made at a certain point in this episode
so
even funnier.
Funny.
So I'm gonna get this out of the way. This would be higher on my list if, and it literally might have just been on my end. I had such a rough time with the audio balancing this episode. Between the quiet dialogue with Meryl and
Roberto
to the really loud action of this episode, to me that was a technical issue that got in the way of how good this episode was, and I was like, you can't be one, you can be three, for me. And that is literally my only problem with this episode. And I hate that. And I would love to give this episode another shot and double check that that's what that was. Because there's also a couple things that I would love to go back to if I have time to kind of retake in, to see how exactly some certain things were being portrayed. Because I have some different points of consideration about what was going on this episode, but I want to hear the other guys talk first. Michael, John.
I mean, that episode was good. Reason it's at number 4 is that one of the shows had to be at number 4.
Mhm.
So
There's certainly a show on there
that
that
that Mason
don't
and I
agree
think should
with.
probably be the other one, but
Reason why this is at number 1? Because it belongs at number 1, baby.
yeah, it
Trigun was good this
the
week.
show's fucking great.
The reason it's at 1 for me is because, like, for me, like, 5 episodes in, I think this so far has been the best show for me. I don't think it might not have been the best this week. But I think it's been really good. I like the overarching story that we know is going behind the scenes, but like at the same time, I love the self-contained story of this episode about Vash. We get like a backstory, we get like progression, we get a conclusion, and then we're like, okay, what's next? Okay, well, let's challenge Vash's like existence and how he's operated through his life, right? And how it's like, yeah, he's not technically wrong. Vash makes a lot of promises he very much knows and very much does not keep. He says a lot of things that he's going to try his best, but he says it defiantly to give people hope. And that's the most dangerous thing, because when they eventually don't get what they expect out of Vash, that's when they all turn on him a lot of times. And it's very sad. It's very rough on Vash as a main character. And I hope like eventually we get this like kind of redemption for him where he actually can help the people and doesn't end up in tragedy. But I think that's not the point of the show. The point of the show is that everything he does involve this tragedy at the end. So I enjoy it though.
yeah, I think this episode is a masterclass in storytelling. The way it's structured, the way it's presented to you, the way it loops into that two things you are viewing, because it does a wonderful job making you think you are viewing two things at the same time that are happening
Yes.
and very similar. There are a couple of things that give it away. Like it's not hard to pick up on it before they do the full reveal where you're like, oh, okay, I now know what's going on. You're going to stab me. But I could also see someone watching this episode and not getting it until the reveal.
I didn't get it on the first time I watched it until they show the point where Rollo runs away and Vash comes and gets him. I didn't realize.
Yeah,
until
I got
that
it.
point.
I
went,
got it a
"Oh."
little bit before it happened. I was like, oh, I know what's going on now. And it's, it makes elements of the episode really hurt. It makes the fact that he's calling out Vash's name not because he wants revenge necessarily, but because he is in a berserk mode, and the only thing he has left to hold on to is that if he calls out Vash's name, he'll come and help him. I think it's very interesting that Rollo's very old at the end of this episode, which is it a side effect of the experiment? Is it that's how long he's been here? Because if that's the case, Vash is much, much older than we might think. And if that's the case, I raise an argument that Vash might be justified in his actions, in that Vash might have kept a lot of promises throughout how long his life is, but no matter how many promises he keeps, some things just don't get better. And if that's the case, I think Vash has a really compelling argument against Wolfwood when he says, you don't get to make that decision. To me, when Rollo is holding Vash in that moment, I think Vash knows that whatever medicine's running through his system is gonna run out soon. Because I don't think Vash... as much as the show's shown it, it's also shown that Vash is someone who will pull a trigger when he needs to. When he really needs to. And to me, this makes me think that he understands the tech. He knows what's going on. He knows who's caused it. And he looks at Rollo and he just imagines that he's about to die anyway. Because he says the line when Rollo's holding him up against the water tank of, you're not going to be alone anymore. And in my opinion, the only way that line makes sense is if Vash thinks he's about to die and Rollo's about to die. And that doesn't happen if Wolfwood shoots him, which I think is why Vash is so mad. Is that he's like, this was going to keep this promise. We were going to both be gone, and it would have technically gone the way we would have promised. We would have been together. It would have solved all the issues we have right now, and you made a call that was also not just a decision about Rolo's life, but was a decision about my life. But on the same line, I get exactly where Wolfwood's coming from. As a character who I'm going to give some lenience to and say that while he's obviously working with millions of knives, that line will never... saying that collective phrase is always going to kill me. I also don't think he's inherently a horrible human being. He clearly has morals to some level. And the fact that he doesn't just let Vash eat dirt this whole episode, I think is interesting. They clearly have something planned for him that he probably has to keep him alive, but he also like could have let Vash take a lot more hits than he did. And I think that Wolfwood like finds Vash an interesting entity of someone who, yeah, runs away a lot. Holy shit, he runs away so much. He does not deal with this problem right away. But Vash's whole thing is kind of running away and then like letting things resolve on a natural course almost, and only stepping in when it feels like he has to. And the idea that he was there when the kid was born, he was there to find the kid, he was there when he died. There's a lot of stuff that Vash has in relation to this one character about important moments of his life, and I think this episode's an absolute masterclass. It just really sucks for me that I had such rough times with the audio. Because, oh my god, it blew my eardrums out a couple of times. And I was not a fan of that. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to see where Trigun goes.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere anytime soon.
I'm glad I picked it.
Oh boy. I'm really glad this is the show whose info title card has the white borders around it to show that it's that I didn't get it edited properly, because it just makes it look even worse of its quality. Also, sorry, I had to do this week. You all have to know where this leads and that this was a targeted assault that this episode does. Hi, welcome to Reborn, to Master the Blade. This week, we pick up with them already having been in the next town. You don't gotta worry about how they got there. They got there. They were already traveling at the end of last episode. They're there. They're staring at this big fucking... this big... No, not yet. This big beast crystallized. And immediately you can see fucking Chris's brain go, I want to fight it. I want to fight it. Let it out of the crystal. I want to kick the shit out of it. And Ronnie's like, you can't say things that are gonna make people think you're a terrorist, right? You're a terrorist, Chris. And then we get the heads up that, oh no, the city's under attack. And Chris goes, okay, be right there. And fucking zoops her way, fucking Minato teleports down from the balcony. And is like, I'm going out there. See you later, guys. And then we get to meet Leone, a character whose name is totally not similar to another character we met earlier. And then we get a last name of a character we actually do know the last name of, whose name is Leon. It's his younger sister. They look nothing alike, which is no surprise, really, at this point, to me. And they do this nice... these creatures do not look great. The rats are very bad in terms of CG animation. The birds are fine. We get a bit where Chris fucking drop kicks some birds down to the ground, and then Leone kills them, and it's kind of cool. And then we find out that people don't and then we get the reveal that she's Leon's younger sister, and that since he's left the Order and been branded the traitor, and also had the crimes of the one Highlander who he killed pinned on him, that everyone thinks he's the worst human being known to man, and also that his sister is equally garbage. As such, Ronnie and Chris are like, hey, don't talk to her like that. And you know what? We don't want rewards from someone like you. And then Ronnie's brother lands on a fucking Ghibli helicopter thing with a cat girl, Highness Menace. And yeah, they're here.
It's Fox Girl, actually,
yeah.
but yes.
And then we learn, and then they talk about things.
Girl? One of them?
She's basically a cat girl.
Yeah.
I think she's more cat than anything else in my mind, but maybe not. We also learned she's old as fuck.
Yeah.
But we get a titty bit where our former Highlander, now turned into small gremlin monster, jumps into Leone's chests. We get that out of the way. And then the girls talk with Ronnie's brother, whose name I can't remember right now. And they're like, yeah, we think this crystallized the giant beast is trying to drop is attracting monsters to the city, so we're gonna like move it into a location where it's isolated, and then eventually we think it's gonna bust out of the crystal, and we'll call you when we want to fight it, Chris. Just to be safe. And they're like, but you can take this airship back to the capital where you guys can start your schooling. And then they start their schooling. important characters exist. One being this principal who is Ara Ara. She's like, hey, we're gonna start training. None of you guys brought any of your equipment, right? And they're like, yeah. And she goes, neat, raised platform, high intense gravity field, 3 golem crabs. Deal with it. If you survive this amount of time without being touched, free meal for a month. And then Chris goes, meal, you say, and punches the shit out of them out of the arena. And the teacher goes, no, that's not how this works. You're not allowed to hit them out of the arena. We're gonna do this again. That was a demonstration. And then she does it, and then she knocks him out of the arena again. She goes, what don't you understand about this was a demonstration? That was your second demonstration. Please God. And she pulls Chris aside, like, you can't do this. You are ruining my training exercise. What can I possibly do? 3 months free meals. 3 months free meals, not just for me, but for my 2 friends as well. And she goes, okay, deal. And then Chris wins anyway, so gets an additional month free, I have to imagine. She's the only one. No.
She gets a 3 month because that was what was promised. She just says she gets the meal tickets.
She gets the meal ticket.
She changed the rules.
Yeah.
She says, Chris, this person wins. They earned the meal ticket. Because Chris is like, time's up. I can beat him up again. Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. We also get introduced to other important school character. Weiss. It's Weiss. She's Weiss.
It's just Weiss.
We see Weiss. I don't remember her actual name. She says it.
She doesn't.
No, she does. No, she does say it because she announces herself like Weiss would when she's fighting the crab. She's like, "How dare you touch me?" Proper noun name of this family.
She doesn't give it. She's just like, you shouldn't. Like, why are you touching me?
I really thought she did.
Doesn't.
Okay. But yeah, and then she has an encounter in the hallway with Leone where she's like, "How I do not want to sleep with this traitorous sister." And then Chris and Ronnie are like, "Hey, that's mean. We like her. Come sleep in our room." And then instead of pushing their 2 beds together, they all go, "Let's go sleep on Chris's bed." And by sleep, they mean lean against the wall for the night. And that's the episode. I don't think anything else happens.
I forgot Raphael going all googly eyes over main character.
Yes, which I think is the funniest thing because Raphael's just like, "My, you've grown into such a pretty lady," and then his like 1,000-year-old man brain is like, "What a fine young soldier he's become," and I think it's funny.
I also like that she's like, "I've been around for a while," and she's like, "Wow, she's been around for a while." That's weird coming from me, who's also been an old man before.
I was literally around for a very long time. I think this show is goofy. I don't think it's great. I think it's fine. I think things happen that at least fire neurons. That's where I sit with this show.
I enjoy the hyperbolic time platform. Because that's what it is. Platform. It's literally just the hyperbolic time chamber from Dragon Ball Z, but on a platform instead.
I enjoyed Mr. Bones' Wild Ride.
I think the show's fine.
Booba.
Yeah, the show's fine. I think good things happen with it. I think
the bits are starting to get old.
I will say, I think I'm happy that it jumped into more than just her booba. You know, I'm more okay with the bit if everyone has to suffer this bit.
You're like, as long as it's not only one person's booba.
The bit's going to be that she won't jump into Ronnie. That's the bit.
Because she doesn't have any.
Exactly.
Which she does.
That's the bit. No, I agree. Like, the food bit is also, the food bit's like, I get it. You guys eat, and that's the only thing you fucking do. I get it.
Chris being horny for fighting was, like, funny for 2 episodes.
I think it's fine.
It's just, I don't know. It feels like that's actually her only character trait.
Here's the thing.
This is a show that doesn't care.
I mean, that's the point, though. Is that she just wants to get really good at sword fighting and nothing else. She doesn't care about anything else.
She hasn't used a sword in 4 episodes.
True.
That's fine.
She just punches shit.
That's fine.
I think
she truly did master the blade.
Yeah, she's already mastered the blade. Now she must master the fist and the kick.
She literally hasn't used a blade. You're right. Wait a minute.
I think
the only time she fucking used one is in episode 1 to shit on young Rawl.
Yeah.
Wait, the show does
when
suck.
she's 3.
Yeah. I think that this show definitely falls into the this show has a battle jockey character, and that is their only characteristic, which I think there are other shows that do that better, which is why I don't think this is anything special or amazing, but I think it's fine. It will eventually have to go. I understand that.
Yeah, no, essentially, my thoughts on this boil down to, it's a comedy show. The comedy is not nearly as funny as, like,
it thinks
4 other comedy shows we have. The action doesn't look good. In my opinion, at least in my opinion, I think most of the action looks really bad. It's either just full cuts to stuff or 5 frames looping for 8 seconds straight. And I don't think it's as good as an action show, and I don't think it does that good as a comedy show. And I don't think it's a very interesting fantasy world. Like it's neat. The dragon and the crystal's kind of cool, but like, eh.
Hey,
I do
John.
like that we have fantasy terrorists. That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
And we didn't get any of them this episode.
I'm
And that was
happy that
kinda
they're
sad.
not. I'm happy that their group's not named. Sorry,
What?
Ice Guy. And no, is it the Shaman Show or Ice Guy? That's seeping into my brain of fucking. Oh, what is it? Oh my god. It's such a bad name for an organization. Don't worry about it. John, talk about your show.
Oh, what did happen this week?
Good question. There we go. That's everything.
Yeah.
Let's
That's it.
go.
No. Okay.
Scratch cards, collections.
I know they gotta collect the plates. So he's like, oh, there's a limited edition plates for the show we had, so I gotta collect these points, like little Matchbox stickers on all this food. And then meanwhile, we have the episode's actually focused more on Fox Girl this episode, where she's like, there's this little cute figurines and the thing that she starts putting on her desk that she gets like from the gacha from her food. And so obviously our other guy in the office notices that and goes, oh, I used to collect those. I'll just start putting little ones on her desk that she doesn't have yet. And it's this really cute game where just more and more kind of appear on her desk over the days. And he's also just like also being like, God, she's really cute. And trying to like confess, but also fails at confessing because come on, this is a rom-com. We can't have confessions at episode 5. What is this, Horimiya?
You know, a good romance.
Listen, it's still second place. But basically they're doing those collections. And she's all bummed out because there's no Fox Girl one. And then she finally collects all of them with him. He just goes, oh, I guess you don't need this chick that I had in my hand. But then he notices that the 7th edition's going on sale, and he's like, look, there's a little fox one just for you. And it's really cute. Meanwhile, Phoenix guy's all down in the dumps because he's simping over Sales Girl and having zero luck. Because he's way too honest where he's like, I love you, please marry me. And he's like, what was wrong about that? I was just being totally straightforward. And we find out that like basically she just worked really hard to get her team back in the swing of things after they lost a big company or something like that. And so we learn why people are simping for who. It's very cute. That's about it. That's kind of it for Ice Guy. It's an okay serotonin this week. Even I wasn't that big on it.
I've said all I've said about Ice Guy in previous episodes. Done.
I have as well. It's just boring.
You know what I wanted to do this. You know what I would have preferred went last week. You know what I'm gonna try to get going. Oh god, we have to talk about the other 2 shows still. The other 1 show that's a problem, but
yeah.
Michael, thoughts on Ice Guy?
I thought it was fine this week.
That was fine.
I just
think
it's boring.
You know, I thought the bit with the collecting was cute. I think it was really dumb how they had to go, okay, but like also the main characters are also collecting something, guys, because of course they are. They're the main characters. They had to be involved in this bit. No, they didn't. It was a perfect bit with just the other 2. And I actually really like the stuff with Phoenix and Office Lady. I don't know. I just thought that was cute.
I like Phoenix Boy.
Made me like the Phoenix significantly more because I hated him before.
I wish it had more time. I wish we just cut the stuff with the main couple and expanded the end of the Phoenix stuff. Like the fact that this episode is titled after the 2 characters and we spend most of the episode on the collecting bit is frustrating for the Phoenix part. I feel like.
I agree. I would have been more in on this episode if the main characters weren't in it, which tells a lot about this show.
I don't.
There are like some bits with them that are fine, but yeah.
I like her. I'm not a big fan of him still. That's kind of where I am about most of this show. I like one half of each couple and not really the whole couple at all. And I would just rather be watching almost any of her other romance shows.
You know, that my biggest issue with the show boils down to I just don't like the main guy. I think he's unbearable. Yes. She's fine. She's
I really like her
well
actually personally, but I get it.
He's just fucking. He is just one bit the whole time. His bit is just he gets flustered and makes snow.
Which I'll say,
gets flustered very easily.
At least they kind of held off on it for a lot of this episode, but still, like
it's because he's like not in half of this episode.
He just shouldn't be in the episode
randomly
at all.
Shoved into other parts of it.
Also, second vacation episode. Is that what we're going into? That's how they sting the end of the episode.
The idea is that they've already spent like a fucking like 6 months together or something at this point. Like the show's just like skipping forward really fast in time. I mean, that's the idea. They work together.
Yeah.
It's just work.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Michael. Talk about.
So, Sugar Apple, so a big thing with this show is that for me last week I didn't have it that high because the show essentially reached the end of its initial setup. Like it was like, okay, she's going to do this thing to become a sugar master, and we reached the end of that, and I was unsure and scared of what the fuck it was going to do after that. I don't know. I thought this episode was great. It was a great continuation off of the we need to just have her do stuff, and essentially what you do is have her go. What it seems like it's going to do, have her go from place to place, meeting new people to learn things from them. This episode focuses on our boy Alf Hingley, or his nickname Cat. Cat's amazing. I adored this man so much. Maybe the funniest bit of like his entire week was him fucking leaning in, just the
It is very
I
good.
fucking loved it every time that man did
It
that.
is very good.
It's
Also,
good.
Benjamin. Also, we meet his fairy Benjamin. He is sleepy. He is adorable.
I was gonna
love
say,
him.
this is the most character made for you I've ever seen, Michael.
Benjamin's amazing. I saw Benjamin. I was like, "This is amazing. I love this guy. Look at this little guy."
Look at this
He
dude.
looks so
Look
cool.
at this dude.
And we get it. This episode, entire episode focuses around. She walks. I can't think of the main girl's. Anne goes, "Oh, I want to meet this guy named Alf Hingley," and his shop's gone. So she goes and finds a random shop and goes, "Oh, that's a really pretty sugar thing." A person comes in, tries to steal it. It gets broken. Guy runs away. Cat thinks it was her who did it. So he goes, "Hey, you're gonna have to work for me to repay that." And she's like, "I didn't do it, but okay. You seem like you're really good at sugar artisanship. Yeah. You seem like a good person to train under." Blah blah blah. She trains under him. They become friends. Yada yada.
They stop stealing.
Yeah. We learn Cat only makes stuff for people he likes. And the person who stole it is someone he doesn't like, or like a servant of them, and they were stealing it to steal it. Blah blah blah. And we just get some nice wholesome end, and also we learn that Alf is we learned Cat is Alf, and that he is also an idiot and very forgetful. And the fact that he doesn't hold Benjamin's wing. He loses it, so Benjamin keeps track of it, and that's amazing. I love that. I love that for him.
I like that for them.
Yeah, I actually really liked this episode. It's just lower on my list because I liked other stuff more.
Yeah, I'm making the adjustment right now where I move it above Angel Next Door because I think that's right. No, I do really like this episode. I don't know, it and Reborn are kind of interchangeable for me because one fires neurons and the other one is like, oh, this is nice, and this is the definition of shoujo. Holy shit! Again, I can't believe they keep finding more scenes to do where I go, Jesus Christ, guys, calm down. It's a shoujo show. We don't have to go so hard in 5 episodes. I really enjoy Shell this episode. I think he gets a lot of time to have a lot of really fun and engaging like bits with people. The part where the angry noble walks in and is like, "Who's this hot little lady? Who's this hot fairy? How much can I buy him for it?" And goes, "No." And the smug ass face he makes at her, and then how he just closes the fucking door on her is wonderful.
It's great.
I like that Shell is when Cat's like, "Hey, you gotta work for me now," and Shell goes, "And you didn't do anything. You know you didn't do anything." And she goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "Let's get the fuck out of here. We don't have to stay here." And then because she's like, "No, I think this is a good learning experience," he like mellows out about it, and I think that's neat and cool. Like he definitely, it has felt like his character has grown in the 5 episodes, which is really nice. I just think I'm not. Anne's fine is kind of where I am with her, right? Like I want, in the same way that every single sugar artisan wants her to become her own person, I also want her to become her own person and be interesting, past like a very simple level. Because I think she has a lot of things that if they're expanded on and they get into, she'll be really enjoyable. Yeah, overall I do really like this episode. This show is good. I'm glad it's doing what it's doing. I just don't think I had this at a really high bar last week because I really liked the conclusion of its 4-episode set. And so, like, to me, other stuff was just, again, better than it this week. That's where I sit with it.
Fair. I can learn about Spy Classroom.
John, do you have deep thoughts or no? You good? We gonna
Shrimp
just...
fairy tale good. I love it. I love it. Cute.
Hey Mason, let's talk about this shit. You
Yeah,
gotta talk
so this
about
show,
this.
yeah, so
It's the fucking funny beat on
So,
your screen.
I
Oh
hate
no,
this.
that's for me.
Episode starts off. It's still back in the pre-Impossible Mission. They get tied up from a trap that they set for Klaus. Doesn't work. So they start trying to figure out other shit to do. There's a bit where Lily talks with Thea, kind of corners Lily and goes, "Hey, you should learn how to do seduction. Try this out." And it's very awkward, and I hate it, and I don't want to talk about it. Moving on. They do another bit where Erna keeps getting caught in I don't remember her name, but the eye patch girl's traps. It's just because she's a fucking idiot. That's all. That's basically how this goes. Moving on. They do another thing to try and get Klaus where they're like, he never eats with us. Maybe it's because he has allergies and he doesn't want us to know about it. So they follow his movements, track him down at a restaurant, ask the people there, find out that he avoids certain foods. Try to make food for him. He eats it. They get mad. That's it. That's basically how this episode goes. Not gonna lie, this episode sucked.
I thought the third bit was good.
The third bit was fine.
The second one was like goofy. The issue that between the second and third, they have these like intermissions where they're talking in front of a shed outside, which pisses me off a lot. Not because what happens there exactly, because they do the right thing where Lily like goes to say something about one of the people's fucking skills, and they go, and then she goes, "Oh wait, I can't say it." And they go, "No, we're like outside. It's fine." That reminded me of episode 4 and how pissed I was they fucking talk about Erna's skill in the middle of the fucking lobby.
And she talks in this episode.
She talks in this episode in the house. That's
so
what bothers
here's
me.
the thing.
They specifically
They
say
covered
in 3
this
she could talk.
because
8 voices over is 8 voices through the radio system they would have.
They
become very muddled and hard to tell.
They wouldn't be able to perfectly pin every single person. So long as like they didn't constantly say each other's names, I guess is the idea.
It's the fact that they fucking talk about her power in episode 4.
Here's my issue with this episode as well, which is they bring up the stuff where they're like, oh, you're so like not you, like I thought you'd be more worried about your body being, who you are. It's like you're so obviously hinting at her things that she's a seductress in the bath, which is clearly probably bugged, right?
Yes.
Like, and also like, there are a couple of things that are really, really odd, that I think are meant to be for later. Redhead getting flustered and wanting to like serve him food is really odd. We know the one girl from his squad had red hair, and it's making me wonder if it's like her younger sister or something, because we know they find the one red hair like when examining the manor, but I don't care enough to want to keep the show around to find out.
I've got to head out.
Yeah.
Because I have to bring my friend home from work, but just update me on what gets voted off.
Of course, you'll know.
I'm sorry to mess with your layout. But
it's fine.
I've got to go. So have a good night, friends.
How bad of an idea would it be to just go to the 3-man layout? Hold on, wait a minute. I can make this work. You're gonna have to be dodged for a minute. Actually, no, I can't. We're not gonna worry about that.
Oops.
We're just gonna split John down the middle.
No. Oh. All right.
Yeah. So like, this is the thing. I don't think that the other 2 bits are horrible. I just think that you've already solved a lot of the things that like are bits in the show, right? Like Lily's the leader. I get it. We solved the fact that they're going to eventually come together on her being the leader. I no longer care about this bit, and I no longer think it's funny. What does this episode do?
Nothing. It's a flashback.
It does nothing, right? Even like
why did we spend the first 3 episodes going through this tier?
Because you have to get the twist.
Supposed to go back And now we're like, okay, but like now you're just putting a bunch of little holes in what you just did.
I get it
Like-
because like you need the 3 episodes to hit the way it does for the twist to work. Like or else Erna can't be a character, which is they want her to be a character is the idea, right?
Yeah, and I think episode 4 works as a going. Yeah, we need to go back and talk about Erna because that was the whole point. We just completely ignored her. We need to shove her back in,
And I think
and then we're
even-
just sitting back there again.
I think you could even sell me if it's like, oh, we're gonna go and look at everybody's individual, like I said, an episode per girl. But it's like, what does this episode do? It does nothing for the show. It is just obnoxious.
Yeah, it's
It
just
runs
a
a-
bunch of bits.
It runs a bit that I legitimately do not want to watch, and legitimately maybe put it on 1.5 times speed the moment it started.
Yeah, I mean, at least I think like we're like vaguely getting character powers or like skills through just like random things they're doing of the ones we didn't know exactly yet.
Yeah,
Because I don't think we had an exact idea of what Glint's was, but I'm pretty sure we got a really
It's
good
gun.
idea that Glint's is just eyesight.
yeah. Oh yeah, eyesight gun. I mean, that's why my brain kept going to gun. It's because like, that's
Eyesight
been her
gun.
thing.
Oh,
But
no,
it's
I like
eyesight.
eyesight.
Eyesight,
Glint is the one with the white hair, like the shaggier
right.
white. Yeah. Sibylla, with her title Pandemonium, I think she uses guns. That's the only fucking thing we've gotten for her is that she can shoot a gun sometimes. And I think he's the next episode if we watch it. It
Look,
depends.
I'm going to make something very clear.
Yeah, I'll just like sit like slightly out of frame, so I'm only in like one of the things.
It's fine. I'm going to make something very clear once the
Yeah.
votes do get cast. I'm voting a particular way until something happens.
That's fair.
Which I have all the votes for already just to run through it.
John, are you should I spy or should I guy?
I am should I
Is that
spy or
you?
should I
Should I
guy?
spy or should I guy?
That
one's good.
I'll be honest, I'm surprised I'm still here this season.
Trigun. Who's you feel your sins crawling down your back?
It's gotta be
Genocide
Mason.
route. It's the genocide route.
Okay, so Tomo, full saves. High card, full saves. Buddy Daddies, Trigun. Sugar Apple Fairy Tale, full saves. None of those are particularly
Is
surprising.
the wheel with keys?
Fire
That's
Hunter.
great.
Fire Hunter, 2 slays. I'm not
Oh.
slaying this show until Ice Guy's gone. That's my brain. And unless it changes and it gets really bad, I don't plan to slay Fire Hunter until Ice Guy's gone. Angel Next Door, 1 slay. Hi, it's me. Reborn, 3 slays. Ice Guy, 3 slays. Thankfully, Spy Classroom's at 4, so I don't have to worry about that wheel.
I had it open and ready.
Look,
Yo,
I
guys,
saw the two
we
of them
did
at
it!
3. I was like,
Guys,
that's
we
fucking
did it!
crazy.
We got rid of all the non-Crunchyroll shows in 3 weeks!
Yeah, no, Nier was on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, but we got rid of all the other
Oh,
non-Crunchyroll
yeah.
ones.
Yeah,
by
we
week
got
3.
got rid of the whole 2.
That's
yeah,
sweet.
we didn't have to worry about it.
I can watch them all while I'm in Amber's in bed and just like not have to pay attention.
Now I'm worried that you two are going to conspire to get rid of Reborn next week, so every one of us has a show off. That's not fair.
I need to find another quote from Sans during
don't you
that
mean?
fight to
Listen,
just make
Sean.
my names are just going to be quotes from Sans.
I hope it has a really good episode, so we have to either vote off Fire Hunter or Ice Guy.
Again, Sean, I'm just glad I'm not out of the show yet.
You're not going to be out of the show. You have Angel. You'll be fine. It'll stick around. Unless it really fucking doubles down on his weird I'm a man, be scared of me bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I think the show's still solid.
Look, I'm
Well,
fine. I am
we can
actually
work
fine if
on it,
Reborn
but,
goes next week. I know the show's dog. I can only
Yeah.
get away with such things for so long, but I'm probably not going to vote it, so it'll really
You know
come.
something that's really funny to me though, real quick.
Yeah.
All the fucking like presidential AI generated memes that are coming out now, where it's like it'll be them playing like fucking Pokemon Showdown or something, and it's like, Donald, I know exactly what team you have, Donald. Where'd you get this from? OCIC. And he's like, no, I built the wall, Joe. This is the team I built myself. Listen.
It's
Um,
different, Joe.
Just like a bunch of memes of that. Sorry, it's really hot in here.
We
I was
need
dying.
to
but-
make one of us, not me, because I don't have time, needs to make an edit where it's them AI, but it's them on our podcast talking about the shows. It's just the presidents running
we
through.
just-
Joe, listen, Joe, Nia is the greatest foundation we've ever built upon this country.
I need to go find the conversation
Opie
about
bit
him,
is funny.
Dylan being Dylan
I am
and
not
Harpies.
sexually attracted to Harvey.
And we need to
I
get
am
that
not
entire
sexually
bit and put that into the thing.
Listen, I'm not sexually attracted to this. Listen,
Joe, Joe,
I just
you
think
agree
the
with
bit
me.
is good.
Donald's attracted to Harpies. Joe.
I am not attracted to Listen, I gotta tell you, listen, just because they have titties doesn't mean they're attractive. But these ones are attractive.
That is kind of how that bit runs. Is the best part about it. No, but I mean, we should just do a bit where it's just fucking Joe Biden. It's just Obama talking, and all of a sudden, Joe Biden's just like, Donald, what are you doing there, Donald? Why you putting so many knives on the screen, Donald? I don't know what you're talking about, Joe. I'm not doing anything. I'm not ready to
Joe,
bit.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have anything.
There's just Obama going,
No, I can see them on the screen.
Donald, what? Don't give Boji a knife. Don't give him a knife, Donald.
I'm just
Either
saying
way,
Bochi needs a knife. I'm just saying, like, it's...
Michael, you have to get an AI script of Donald Trump reading the shitty My Anime List reviews from our boy.
True. I need to fucking find the account because I don't remember the username
It's so
anymore.
easy to find it though.
Yeah, because there's like 3 shows I can go to where I know what the review is.
Yeah, I know what the Terror review is. How could they play airplane chess? That airport chess is the dumbest thing known to man. No, John, I'm serious. If you ever get time, go look at the reviews for Terror and Resonance and see how many of them are people going, airport chess is the dumbest thing on the planet, and the other half being airport chess is the best thing on the planet. It is like the one thing that's mentioned in every review. It's so
Dumbest
funny.
thing on the planet.
Either way, guys.
I like both arguments. It's the dumbest and greatest thing
Yes.
ever done.
Either way, guys, we will talk to you all later. Spy Classroom's gone. 9 shows remain. We'll figure out what we're podcasting
Somehow,
at
Ice
some
Guy's still
point in
here.
time. Yeah, you really dodged it last week, is what I'm worried. It should have gone last week. Now it's never gonna go. But we'll talk to you all later.